Demi Moore, 61, has discussed how her high-profile marriage to Ashton Kutcher affected her life. Once considered one of Hollywood's golden couples, their marriage was everything from fairy tale. Demi's honest observations show that not everything that glitters is gold, and how their relationship affected her personal and professional life. Join us as we discuss Demi Moore's difficult path and lessons learned from professional highs to emotional lows. Expect a captivating story that goes beyond tabloid headlines to reveal the lady behind the famous. Difficult starts. Demi spoke about her terrible and depressing upbringing in her book, Inside Out. She described how her two alcoholic parents used to argue constantly and cheat on one another. Surprisingly enough, however, she also disclosed that she had learned that the man she had assumed to be her real father was her adopted father. The trauma from childhood, nevertheless, continued. She has said that that moment marked the end of her childhood as she knew it, but this was still far from its end. Demi opened up about her mother's suicide attempts, one of which she stopped in an act of resourcefulness. I remember using my fingers, the small fingers of a child, to dig the pills my mother had tried to swallow out of her mouth. Unmotherly conduct. Though Demi's mother used to occasionally take her to pubs and introduce her to men, her unfortunate upbringing and her mother's unforgivable behavior caused Demi to become an adult much sooner than planned. In fact, just a day after turning 16, Demi left home, took charge of her life, and started her own family. This is one of the more difficult accounts in the book. When Demi returned home at 15, she found a man who was friendly with her mother. He mistreated Demi and told her terrible things about her mother's decisions. Getting to know Freddy Moore. Demi Moore and Freddy Moore first met in a pub, and the two quickly became romantically involved. They didn't seem to mind that she was a young girl and he was 12 years older than her, or that he was married. Freddy left his wife for Demi, and they were married within a year of his divorce being finalized in 1981. Demi took on his last name during their brief marriage, which lasted only 4 years. Freddy claimed, "I've never met a woman with a more obsessive need to be liked and loved." But she didn't hang around to hear it, and before their formal divorce was finalized in 1981, Demi had already fallen in love. Unclothed model to potential actress. Demi's marriage to Moore also marked her entry into the entertainment industry. She started modeling and even posed for an adult magazine cover. She landed a few small roles in films and a big part in the soap opera General Hospital, where she co-starred with John Stamos for several years before he played Uncle Jesse in Full House. Demi's career took off after that, with roles in several more films before her breakthrough performances in the 1985 film St. Elmo's Fire and the roughly a year later film About Last Night, which elevated her profile and cemented her place on the lists of promising actors of the time. Getting to know Bruce Willis. When Willis and Estevez attended the 1987 film premiere of one of his films, Moore was initially unimpressed with him, but by the end of the evening, she had come to appreciate him. Demi wrote in her autobiography, "Bruce was so gallant, in his boisterous way, a real gentleman." Estevez noticed Willis eyeing his fiancée and later told her, "He's all over you like a cheap suit in the rain." Estevez was right. Moore said that Willis's limousine pulled up next to her vehicle as she was driving home. His pals yelled her name and waved at her as he and they burst out of the sunroof. She soon broke her engagement to Estevez, and a few months later, she was married to Willis, feeling as if she was getting a message to pay attention to this guy. A conversation between the poker tables. After he and Demi started dating, Willis wasted no time popping the question to her in late 1987, just 4 months after they first met. The two were strolling among the poker tables in Las Vegas when the celebrity turned to her and said, "We need to get married." Moore wrote in her book that, although they had been joking about it on the flight there, it seemed like he wasn't kidding. They had a small, intimate ceremony in their suite that same weekend and a more lavish wedding a month later. At precisely 9 months after their first daughter, Rumor, was born, the couple celebrated only 1 year since meeting. The striptease that was too embarrassing to see. When Demi was photographed nude for Vanity Fair magazine in 1991, she was late in her pregnancy with her second daughter, Scout. Although it was too early to break the internet, it broke newsstands and various entertainment programs. The cover has become iconic and, over the years, has received countless mentions and imitations from many pregnant stars. Demi herself bared all again for the magazine about 2 years ago. The early 1990s presented an interesting challenge to the couple's relationship. Willis had starred in several films that did not meet their expectations, while Moore had become one of the biggest stars in the world. Protecting her mother. My mom was the highest paid actress, and then all of a sudden, she was difficult, high maintenance, or a diva. Rumor recently defended Demi, saying, "If the same thing happened to my dad or any man, then they're praised and told how amazing they are." Bruce's misgivings about divorce. At the Willis Moore home, the situation was much less successful. In 1998, the news broke out that the couple divorced after 11 years of marriage and 3 daughters together. Rumors of problems between the two began long before that, and Moore admits they were true in her book. As early as 1991, Willis told her he wasn't sure he wanted to be married. He also demanded that she stay home with their daughters instead of filming, and threatened that if she did not do so, their marriage would be harmed. Willis told her that if she left to film a movie, it would not work. Demi recounted that while her career flourished, her life was miserable. There were also tales of infidelity, which Willis did not rush to refute when he said in an interview with Playboy, "No woman is going to satisfy a man's natural impulse to procreate. The impulse doesn't go away because you have 3 or 10 or 100 kids. On an emotional level, to think that you will find one person who understands what you need right now and can give it to you, to anticipate what you will need 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, is a myth. Yet that's what marriage is based on." Willis and Moore divorce. He wanted to do whatever he wanted. It was not so unusual in men that age, he was 36 at the time, to throw in celebrity and money. "You do the math," Moore later said of Willis's craved excitement and novelty. The details of their situation were detailed in her statement. The divorce was finalized about 2 years after the announcement of their split, and in a way that is uncommon for divorced couples, they maintained a good and friendly relationship, so friendly that Willis and Moore's subsequent partner, actor Ashton Kutcher, became close friends. A cordial divorce. The divorce was undoubtedly amicable. Moore even joked on Willis's roast on Comedy Central in 2018 and said, "I look at our marriage like The Sixth Sense. You were dead the whole time." Moore recalled, "It's a funny thing to say, but I'm very proud of our divorce. I think Bruce was fearful at the beginning that I was going to make our split difficult and that I would express my anger and whatever baggage that I had from our marriage by obstructing his access to the kids. That I did not, and neither did he." Moore goes with a younger guy. When the 41-year-old Moore and the 25-year-old Kutcher started dating in 2003, they spent much time together at the Los Angeles Kabbalah Center, where they later became regular members alongside many other celebrities. The couple got married after 2 years of dating. Willis attended the wedding, and at least the beginning was good. Moore said of Kutcher that she could just go back in time and experience what it was like to be young with him, much more so than I'd ever been able to experience it when I was actually in my 20s. He would also leave her romantic post-it notes with sweet phrases like magical and believed in her. Kutcher's views on alcohol abuse. Their last years together were a little less eventful. In her book, Moore said that Kutcher had her have threesomes with him against her will, and that at one point, he started cheating on her, which he explained by saying that their threesomes allowed him to see other women without her. They also made a failed attempt at conception. Moore even accuses herself of causing the couple's miscarriage, claiming, I was racked with guilt and convinced what had happened was my doing, thinking her drinking and smoking had a role in it. Kutcher left the relationship once a match was discovered, despite the pair seeming to have decided to use an egg donor. She resumed drinking 20 years after stopping, encouraged by Kutcher, who did not think alcohol addiction was a legitimate condition. She was hooked again after a glass here and a glass there, as she described it, since she felt the need to satisfy him. Kutcher was upset with her at the time. Moore said, "Ashton had encouraged me to go in this direction. When I went too far, though, he told me how he felt by showing a picture he'd taken of me resting my head on the toilet the night before. It seemed like a good-natured joke at the time, but it was just shaming." Demi is divorced, and Bruce marries. 2013 saw the end of Demi and Ashton's 8-year marriage. Kutcher said on Twitter that he did not plan to respond and did not attend Moore's 2019 book launch party. In contrast, Willis encouraged her and went. Moore said that after reading her book, Bruce had given her a call. She was astonished to hear he was touched by what he read since she had been scared he would be upset. Willis remarried in 2009, this time to 23-year-old model Emma Hemming. 2 more of his children, Mabel, age 9, and Evelyn, 7, followed his habit of bearing girls. He said, "I've been single and generally unhappy for the past 10 years, in a shadowy area. I never considered dating someone else the solution until I began hanging out with Emma, and I saw a daily improvement in my happiness." A hard moment. Moore had a difficult period after her split with Kutcher. The breakup didn't only make her depressed, her alcoholism did too. After getting married, her children stopped talking to her because they thought she was spending all her time with her spouse. Rumor once said that she thought their mother was insufficient for her and her sisters. They thought they would be able to assist their mother on their own when they learned that she had resumed her drug and alcohol use, but to no effect. Rumor clarified, "I wanted her to show and prove that I'm important enough for her to get sober. I want her to show me that being in my life is worth more than any drug, any man, anything." Mother-daughter bonding. Tallulah, Moore's youngest daughter, shared on social media on Mom's Day how she used to cry whenever she heard radio advertisements honoring moms. Although 3 years did not seem long, she said, "I didn't talk to my mom for almost 3 years. I often wonder what kind of connection could be formed if I met the 26-year-old Demi." Fortunately, the family's bond was repaired, and it is now closer than before. "We'd have a lot of laughs." Demi, Bruce, and their girls were with Bruce's wife and their 2 kids at the start of the quarantine period. An acquaintance said, "They are one big happy family," noting that Moore and Willis get along well, are quite close, and have taken many vacations together. Demi is now moving in to look after Bruce. Demi raced to Bruce's house after learning of his tragic dementia diagnosis, and she has now moved in to assist Willis's current wife, Emma Hemming Willis, in taking care of the 67-year-old. Demi moved in and is staying to the very end. Living with her ex and his new wife was something nobody outside the family could comprehend at first, but now it makes sense, according to a source. Demi has been a huge comfort to the whole family, even though it is still unclear how long they will live together. A source said she is not leaving until the very end. The insider said, "Demi has been a rock for the family and is determined to make sure every day Bruce has left on Earth will be filled with love." The sisters Willis. Over the years, Moore and Willis's children have also sparked a lot of curiosity. The gossip columns have often discussed the contentious question of whether they look more like their mother or father, and the paparazzi have spent much time attempting to get pictures of them. Every one of the 3 ladies had issues. Tallulah, 26, battled drug addiction, food disorders, and alcoholism. She said that she began drinking when she was 14 years old and that she subsequently almost passed away from alcohol poisoning. She passed out after taking cocaine and medicines yet another time. She disclosed that she had body dysmorphic disorder, which caused her to drop to only 95 pounds at one point. Those with this disorder experience extreme distress due to features in their appearance that they view as flaws, which severely disrupts their functioning in various areas of life. An entire family in rehab. Both Rumor, 32, and Scout, 30, acknowledged in 2017 that they had overcome addiction, albeit that they did not specify the nature of their addiction. Scout had previously acknowledged that she was hooked on cosmetic procedures. Rumor said that her mother was the one who motivated her to do so when she posted on Instagram saying, "I am proud of myself. I can honestly say I have never been more proud of myself in my entire life." She clarified that she was the family member who had sobered up last. Scout is the quietest of the sisters. Her popularity peaked in 2014 when she became enraged after Instagram suspended Rihanna's account for sharing a nude picture of herself. As a reaction, Scout took to the streets of New York, walking around nude, and sent a picture on Twitter with the message, "Legal in New York City, but not on Instagram." Seeking to escape the shadow of their parents. In an apparent effort to set herself apart from her well-known father, Tallulah launched her fashion label, Willis, with a slightly different spelling, W-Y-L-L-I-S, after gaining some experience in acting. She continued by saying that her mother is a major source of inspiration for many of her creations. Rumor, who has acted in several films and television shows over the years, but has never really achieved stardom, was the one who was the most keen to carry on her parents' legacy. Her roles in Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time. Her career highlights were in Hollywood and mostly in reality TV programs such as Dancing with the Stars, 2015, and The Masked Singer, Season 1, where she placed 5th in the first season. Bullies in the background. When she was younger, Rumor was not spared from the cruelties of internet bullies, and she learned early on just how cruel people can be online. She revealed how mortified she felt when bloggers made fun of her appearance, calling her a potato head and having a huge jaw. Rumor said, "When you're 14 or 15, I didn't understand having value in myself yet. My mind went to, okay, so if I get skinny or if I dress the right way or present myself very hypersexually and dress this way, then I'll be valued." Rumor also talked about how difficult it was for her when people criticized her appearance and her unfortunate father's genes. Although her appearance has changed significantly over the years, she acknowledged that she gave plastic surgery serious consideration, but she claims she never had any work done. Instead, she said, "Here are my flaws, and it's okay. I'm still me." Taking responsibility for her decisions. When some people said Rumor was lying and had had plastic surgery, she shot them down, saying, "If I choose to do something to myself, it's because I've thought about it, and if it's going to make me feel better, I won't be ashamed of my choices." Rumor still takes criticism seriously.
If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon